Love you, Linda. Love you.
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing "Oh Happy Day."
One word prayer. Justice, where are you?
And welcome to Just to Serve TV. We are live on the air. Well, we're on the air anyway. Hi, Linda Kenny Baden. How are you?
I'm very well. The word celebrate's not good. We're bringing awareness this week to something that is incredibly important to many people I know and has touched many people I know. Last month we did the awareness for Addiction Month and Recovery, but this month, violence against women. It is said, and you can go online and get any ribbon that you want, National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Not that every month shouldn't be National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but this is our show that we're doing Friday night here, and we're glad all of you can join us to bring awareness to what can happen and what has happened and what may happen and touch somebody you know who's close to you, and that you want to know what the signs are and what you can do if you see signs. So we have a very special guest, Michael Bryant.
Yeah, and among other things, we learned how widespread this is. Some of the numbers are shocking. In one sense, you think, what, a whole month for domestic violence? And yet, as you suggest, it's year round. It doesn't take time off. So the 1 month that we focus on it, hopefully we can bring enough awareness that people will maybe we'll make some progress in fixing these problems. But to your point, yes, we do have a very special guest. Do you want to do an intro? Or you want me to bring her on?
Let's bring her on, and then we'll talk to her. Oh, we're going to move her to the middle. There you go. And
there
she
you are.
is in purple. I have purple weights around my arms to represent the weights around women. Also in this is, if you don't know her, this is one of my heroes. She is Sue Savio. And why is she a hero? Because her sister, Kitty, was murdered. I mean, murdered. And no one believed that her sister Kitty could be murdered because she had been married to a police officer, one that if I mention his name, all of you in the chat will go crazy. And that is Drew Peterson out of Bolingbrook, Illinois. And if it wasn't for Sue, and if it wasn't for Sue's love of her sister and Sue's determination and Sue's understanding that her sister would have never drowned in a bathtub, we wouldn't be here talking to Sue. By the same token, her sister may still be alive if somebody had noticed the signs, warned Kitty about them. And I call her Kitty because I feel like I know you Sue, and I feel like I know your sister, having sort of gone through this by touching my husband, who also knows you very well, and by the way, who sends his best regards. So, Sue, I want to turn this over to you to tell the story of Kitty, and I'd like to put a picture of her on the up while we talk about it for a second, because this is what you have on your Facebook page. Kitty Savio, born June 13th. 1963, and you will always love her. You'll meet her down that lane, and if you want to get the whole story, you just look at her in the eyes. And I love the fact that this was a picture of Kitty's eyes, because we're going behind those eyes to the tragedy that she must have endured when she died, and we're going to try to save another woman or another man or another kid or another person's life by having Sue talk to us about what Kitty endured, what Sue endured, and how you recognize the signs so it can't happen again. So I am throwing this open to you, Sue Savio, my hero.
Thank you. Thank you. There was so many different signs. It starts out with controlling, degrading, slapping, hitting, fighting, lying. There's so many different things. Isolation, especially, portraying you as being ugly, the devil, putting you down. So many.
We have lost Sue just
A
for
little
the moment.
freeze there.
Yeah, a little freeze.
See if she
Would
pops
She'll,
tell
back.
people
There we
that
go.
she was
Thank you.
garbage, she was a drunk, that she was a drunk. He used to put pictures on the refrigerator and he would scratch his face out. I'm sorry, Kathleen's face out. And he would say, she's a devil and I am the good person. I'm a good guy. It's just more of the controlling in the badgering, the hitting with the breaking glass and the bats and because he was a police officer, he would chase her around with the stick. And he hit her a couple times and made her, go into the hospital.
we lost you again, Sue. We'll be back.
And I don't know if we mentioned, I mean, most people know the Drew Peterson case.
We haven't gotten to the end. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I figured that for those who know, people are Googling it right
Was
now.
because
So
the
we lost you
document,
when you
it's
said,
actually
so we lost you when you said she went to the hospital. So pick it up from there.
We lost you for just a second.
And we're losing Sue again for a second. We keep losing you. Maybe it's good if you sign out and sign
Yeah.
back in. Why don't we do that? And Michael and I will talk about
Okay.
it and give some of the backstory while it happens.
Okay, so technology, always a challenge. Yeah, so I mean, this was a worldwide case that was on every front page everywhere because it does involve a cop, Drew Peterson. It involved his story that his wife, Kathleen, died in the bathtub. It was just an accidental drowning. And then there was another person brought into the mix, a professional who happens to know a little bit about forensic pathology. He was Dr. Baden brought in by the family? Who brought him in?
He was brought in by the family, and Sue could tell that story about making the call to him.
Okay, let's get Sue back on again.
There she
Hopefully,
is.
have a stronger connection. We were just mentioning it, that how Dr. Michael Baden was
it's
brought
cutting
into
out again. It's horrible.
Yeah, are you hearing us now? Looks like a frozen
She's
image
frozen again. But this is also, he was divorced.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he was divorced from Kathleen Kitty, and then married another wife who has disappeared.
Yes.
And there were suspicions
Yes.
that he felt Stacey Ann was the name of his next wife, that obviously he killed her, and she has never been found. Much like, as I always mention when we have these no find cases, my cousin, when I was a child, who was kidnapped by a serial killer, and her body was never found. So I do have that empathy also with you, Sue Savio. It's understanding why, even though I'm like removed from you by my husband in one step, I feel that empathy. But go ahead, tell your story. Let's keep going. She went to the hospital. What happened? Did they do anything? Did they do anything at the hospital?
Actually, no, nothing. And it's unbelievable. She went there and she had a broken wrist and she also had bruises and scratches. And I don't know exactly what happened, but she was released and he wasn't arrested. Anything. It was just a weird thing. I never seen anything like it. And it also made me to believe that maybe they just didn't believe her. I didn't, but she did keep, a lot of documentations of what happened, police reports and everything. So that really helped us, put everything together and for her with with the trial and everything, because we were able to get that. But it wasn't the first time she was in a hospital. She was in a hospital before. And like I said, the police were over there 18 times and they left without documenting, doing nothing at all.
18
Yes.
times she called the police for help?
Yes. And no report was made. It was pretty much the good guys get in the corner and say, she's crazy. That's, here we go again with that crazy lady. Nothing was done. And here we have her being battered, put down marks on her and shattered glass all over, and nothing was done. She felt like she was a captured animal. It was unreal. We
How much of
fought and
that?
we fought about this, and she would, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you were done there. I was just curious how much of this you attribute to the fact that Drew Peterson was a cop, and that was it. The blue line against this complaining person.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a blue line. Yes.
And how did she feel? Because I know you tried to help you. The family was helping, her, very supportive. Did she feel like she was being gaslit? That she was becoming crazy? What did you see going
No. Well,
through
she did.
her mind?
She questioned herself about her weight and about her looks and about her age. And I would tell her, no, that's not true. I mean, you're like the prettiest one in the whole family. You're blonde hair. Everything's fine. And I tried to encourage her, but she began to feel very beat up and very low, that she wasn't anybody and she was afraid and she felt like a bring me down. And he did bring her down.
So she was strong enough to call the police 18 times. After that, uh, did she feel that it was helpless? There was anything that she could do because she did get divorced from him, didn't she? Or was she murdered
Yes.
before she was
And the
divorced?
situation was with the divorce, someone sent a letter saying that she was a laughing stock of the police department. And they wanted to let her know that he was having an affair with a 15-year-old Stacy Peterson. And she confronted him and he chased her around with the stick and he said, if you tell anybody or you believe this, I will kill you and I will make it look like an accident and there'll be no blood around. So in turn, she said, I'm divorcing you, I'm done. And that's when the battling all started. It was a nightmare for years.
So this sounds very much a
He
little bit
did
with the
wind up
50.
married.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Sue.
He wanted to marry Stacey Peterson because she was having a baby. And the agreement was that if she allowed the marriage, they would go ahead and settle. They were already divorced. They were already going to settle. And that would have been about 3 months after they got married. But she never made it to the settlement.
And the
As I
settlement would have,
recall, he was 49 and this new wife was 19. Is that right? When
Oh,
they got
no, much younger, much younger. He dated her when she was 15 and then she turned 16. The police wanted to cover up the age because, that's not a good thing. But he got her a job in the police department, so everything was good and everything was hush hush. But it was 15.
so this
wow.
sounds very much, Michael Bryant, like
Sandra
a
Birchmore.
Sandra
Sandra
Birchmore case
Birchmore.
in
Um,
Stoughton, Massachusetts, where a 15-year-old groomed a 12, 15-year-old allegedly having a sexual relationship with a police officer, and then she ends up murdered, and the feds have indicted him for murder of a witness because they're investigating
Mhm,
um, sex with a 15-year-old, grooming and all. So
mhm.
does this sound very much like
Scary.
that in a way? It's kind of
So,
scary.
Sue, let me ask you, as a member of the family, and there when she was what I will say is pre Drew Peterson, was there something about her upbringing or her interactions with men in general that led her to somebody like Drew Peterson? How do you think that evolved?
No, she's had previous boyfriends as she's.
You keep losing Sue, but she'll be
Everything
back.
was fine. They Okay, everything was fine when she was, younger. She got herself into college. She got her associate's degree and her accountant. Everything was fine. And she was dating someone and she wanted to get married. He wasn't ready. So she broke up with him. A friend hooked her up with Drew Peterson. And that was it. She fell in love with him. He promised her everything. He was a bachelor. Had all these appliances that he wanted to buy, and he wanted to help her with every single thing. But the thing that I found out really bad was she had a picture, a 5x7, excuse me, a 5x7 picture, and it said on there, the good guy, and it was a picture of him. And I thought that was really strange. I mean, why would he put a good guy and give him a picture? And that's when it all kind of started feeling weird. And I just never felt very comfortable with him
Well, obviously,
after
your
he,
sister documented all this, and supposedly he confessed with two hearsay statements, killing both Kathleen, Kitty, and killing Stacey Ann. So, but before we get to those, why don't you tell us what happened when you found out that she had died, and what was it ruled initially?
it was ruled we have to go to an inquest. And I spoke, excuse me, I spoke at the inquest. And it's basically like a trial. They ask you questions and, what did you see? What did you hear? And they came out and said that it was a, asked us to come back. We waited out of the room and they said it was a drowning. And I said, I just can't believe that. I just can't
How was she found? How
believe
was she
that.
found? How was she found? How did you get notified? And how was she found? I mean, like when was
She was
this?
found she was found in a dry bathtub. Her head was bashed in, possibly with a police stick. She was naked, but she was on the opposite side out of the toilet, which was her head would have been into the drain, and she was soaked with blood.
So there were a lot of
Now
injuries that
with
would not be consistent with drowning.
yeah, so many. The legs, the arms, the back, the head, the neck. They're saying that, well, what they do believe is because they had a reenactment is that she was in the bathroom and he grabbed her possibly in a chokehold, put her head in the toilet, slammed it down and held it, which gave her a mark in the back, corruption with the toilet seat going down, and then took her clothes off, put her in the bathroom, beat her in the head. Well, she was drowned already, but he beat her in the head and made it look like an accident. But the thing is, nothing was knocked over. Nothing. Nothing was out of place.
And you never gave up believing that your sister.
No, not at all. I went to the grand jury and I spoke the truth. And they asked me questions like, "Are you sticking up for him, or do you like him?" And it was kind of a trick question, but honestly, I had to answer it truthfully.
Mhm.
Of course, with anybody else with the family, they would want to do the same thing. So that's what I did. I did the inquest, and I also did the grand jury, and also was called to the stand.
Yeah. Well, the coroner's jury, if I recall, included police officers who knew Drew Peterson personally and said that he was a good guy. He couldn't
Not
hurt
at all.
anybody. But then your sister's body was exhumed for forensic examination November 16, 2007. That's what I have. And I believe it was
Yes.
you, wasn't it you who called my husband for help?
I'm sorry.
Wasn't it you who called my husband for help?
Actually, the Fox News contacted me, and there's someone that can help you.
Okay. And then you
And
called, right? And then you called, I believe, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that.
Well, thank you. I know he agreed to do that pro bono because you and he had a long conversation, and
Right.
I think he
Um,
felt for you
I
and
will
your family.
forever, ever, ever be so thankful for that. Because, everything was coming out that it was an accident and, we had the proof and everything, but it just was always going. It was a drowning and drowning. So I'm thank God that her body was exhumed and, your husband, Dr. Baden, and I think it was someone else that was with him that discovered that it wasn't a drowning. And that's when I think all the sadness really came in because it was right there in your face.
Yeah, she had extensive, as you know, bruising and scraping to her back, torso, face, as well as a large unexplained gash in her scalp. The Will County State's Attorney James Glasgow believed that the death was a homicide after Michael finished staged to look like an
Right.
accident. Give him credits. So we do have just the last page of his report. I pulled it offline. I think, Michael, you have it. It was
Yeah,
from a
let
show. It
me
was from
let
some
me
other
file that
show
for you.
that was run so that you can see it. There, and that's my husband's signature. This came from a show, I'd Live with a Killer, I guess, episode, season 1. Is my opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty that the drowning of Ms. Savio, a healthy adult in a bathtub with multiple blunt force injuries, indicates indicative of a struggle, should be properly classified as a homicide. Okay, so that was in 2007. Bring us up to date what happened after that, because she never got to have that settlement from her marriage because she was deaded. She was unalived in between, right?
Right. Correct.
So,
And it was, I believe it was a few weeks before the settlement and the court settlement and everything was going to be settled. And she was murdered before that, 2 weeks before that.
Kathleen, what happened subsequently? Tell us what happened subsequently, and what other things did you? I know you've learned a lot about domestic violence, and you gave us at
Yes.
least 15 things to look forward to. What are the things after you started learning about domestic violence did you see, and what happened to Drew Peterson? Tell the story for those that don't know it.
What happened to Drew Peterson? He was finally found murder of Kathleen. I'm not sure where you're getting at, so if you can explain that.
No, I just want to know what in the story that he got convicted of killing her, right? So,
Oh, yes. He
right.
was actually he was no one really knows, but I got a call that he was going to be arrested, and I put on the TV, it was on there. And where he was going, he had a younger girlfriend, maybe about 18 years old, some young girl, and he was going to the bank. It was almost like he knew something was going to happen. Anyway, in the intersection, all the police stopped him and they took him out of the car, and he had his sunglasses on. He was acting all cool. They just took him off and threw him in the car. And he was arrested for the murder of my sister. And it was tearful, painful, but it was a relief. The battle was, with the court in the years having to wait for this. It didn't happen right away. But he was found guilty, and he has gotten 40 years for her murder.
And his appeals
I'd
have
like
been
to
denied,
say,
right?
oh, he has gone to the appeals, the Supreme Court. I mean, you name it, he has gone. But now what I would like to say is that it is still going on, and I am in contact with the state's attorney monthly or every other month. We are going to court because Drew Peterson is claiming that his attorney Brodsky was the cause of him losing the case. So we're still battling this to this month right now in court.
So
Is
Kathleen,
that a new appeal? Some ineffective counsel Sixth Amendment appeal, or what? Seems so
No, he
long.
lost all his. This is he lost all of his appeals. This is I'm not really sure.
a
There's a word
habeas,
for it
like
that.
a habeas, this could be a habeas petition to say his attorney was ineffective.
Well, here's how it went. He wrote a letter to the judge, and somehow and they were had to follow through on it, and it's almost like the very, very last chance that you have to possibly get a new trial. And I'm not sure what it was called. I talk about it all the time, and my mind is
Hmm.
just gone.
No,
But
this
he's definitely trying to get his Kathleen's case dismissed,
And he
and
still says
that
he's
would be
innocent,
because of his
right?
attorney.
And he still says he's innocent, right? He's not he's not saying he did anything wrong.
Yes, definitely. He denies everything that it. He blames it on the hearsay. He blazoned on the witnesses. They lied, or they were corrupt, or they were persuaded by the prosecutor. He
We keep losing her, but we can see the anguish as she talks about this, Michael.
Yep.
It's and this is what so many women are going through. And this is a case too where everyone should understand. Stacy Ann Peterson, the next wife, disappeared. I mean, she disappeared. She was
Right.
gone, and had it not been for that, it may not have been that somebody would want to take a look back and see that maybe there was a cover up for a cop. And I don't remember anybody getting in trouble for covering up for 18 calls to the house. Do you?
You know, that's why it just sounds so cliche, you know, that the blue line, the brothers are going to protect one of their own, not unlike Karen Reed, not unlike Sandra Birchmore. I mean, again, we're seeing it in so many of these cases. It's frightening. And I think we have Sue back
She's
here.
back,
Let's
yeah.
see. Let's see how we
Okay.
got you back
Mhm.
here. Here we go.
Yeah.
We're just saying that no one got in trouble with the police for covering up like 18 times at her, right? No one,
No,
no one
no.
got in trouble. Right. To me, that's unbelievable. Are any of those
Yes.
officers still police officers, or did any of them resign? Do you know if anything
It,
happened? Because you had the other wife afterwards, the Stacey Ann, who disappeared, whose body has never been found, right?
yes.
It's to me unbelievable. Now, you said he blamed hearsay because supposedly he confessed to what? He confessed to a pastor that he had, or Stacey Ann had confessed to a pastor that he had confessed to her, Drew, that he had
Yes.
killed Kathleen.
She she actually went through Kathleen's attorney and said she wanted a divorce and she wanted to know how much money she would get from Drew. Told what happened, and he said, "Well, you would be under prejudice." And he said, "What is it you want to say?" And she said, "Well, don't tell anybody, but I know how he killed Kathleen. He killed Kathleen, and I know how he did it."
How long is it after she disappeared? Do you remember? Pretty soon after, if I recall,
Stacy, right
right?
now?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, right. I would say matter in 5 weeks or less.
Mhm.
Wow. Sounds like Birchmore, doesn't it, Michael
Um,
Bryant?
It just sounds way too
well,
familiar.
he was very secretive and he was very possessive of everyone. He actually was with Neil Shorey, the priest, and he followed him and he got information that, Stacy was talking to the priest and told the priest also. So their lives were in danger also because of him. Um, it just goes
Wasn't he
on,
convicted of
but the things
attempting
that
to
he
kill
was
the?
doing.
Wasn't he convicted also of attempting to kill the prosecutor, or
Yes,
arrested?
this
Yes.
happened after. Yes, yes. When he was already in jail, he did talk to somebody in jail trying to set up a hit on James Glasgow. Fortunately, I went to court for that down south, Illinois, and it was amazing because he denied everything on the stand. And here you have the witness there telling exactly what happened. There was a recording made. They actually, put cameras on him, and it was right there. You hear him saying that I want it done this day,
Hmm.
and no one will know that it was me because I'm in jail.
So who was he working with?
So
Somebody
he
in
was
jail who
really
knew somebody who knew. How was that all going
no.
to be
It was just.
orchestrated?
It was actually just. It was actually a prisoner, just a regular prisoner. I'm not sure what he was in there for, but Drew had confronted him and, said, "I'm Drew Peterson and unfair things and blah, blah, blah." And what happened was he found a way of, maybe getting his sentence reduced. So he called the state's attorney and everyone, and anyone that he can get in contact with us, and because they needed to find out if this was real or not. So they had him wear a wire, and clearly I could hear in court that he was saying, I want this done, and is your uncle still going to do this? And
Mm.
don't worry, we're going to have a party. And no one's going to know it's me. I'm in jail.
So bringing that back to your sister and the domestic violence, how was it that he was able to get into the house and kill her? And do
Well,
you remember the day she died from when you got that until the
yeah,
day justice came and he was convicted?
I believe that how he got into the house when he murdered her was he had gotten a key from one of the kids' backpack, and he also got a garage door opener, which she would never allow him to have. She'd never wanted him in that house. There's been previous incidents where he did get in the house, and it's a long story what he has done. Um, but we're assuming that that's what happened. He had the key, and he got in when she was sleeping, and she was upstairs in her bedroom studying because she was going to be a nursing school
Oh, wow.
director. And I actually was in the house, after the day after, and I seen all of her books and everything laying on the bed, and it looks like she was studying, and she may have gone to the bathroom for some reason, washed her face or something. That's what happened.
I tell you, he's like a monster. This is a monster story. Looking back on it, Kitty tried. She tried to get help. You tried to get her help. What can you say to people who are trying to get help and no one will listen to them?
Tell someone what's going on, document it, and give that documentation to another person. It's very important, and the witness can be very helpful in a court case. Some states it will not be, but it is a help. Illinois does have it where it's a hearsay law for Kathleen and Stacy. So they call it Drew's law, but it isn't. It's Kathleen and Stacy law, and it's hearsay. And how it works is that if something is going on with you, you're being battered or put down or whatever, there's all sorts of domestic violence. But if anything has had happened, you feel a threat, you're writing everything down, you give it to someone in a safe place, and you tell them where that is at. And if anything would happen to you, they can always go back on that. Um, it's so helpful. And but the thing is, there are a lot of women do not want to do that because they're afraid that it'll all come back to them. There's so much help out there now, but unfortunately, it's happening like every minute, domestic violence, and it's horrible, just a horrible thing. But reaching out to someone is very important.
Let's put up the graphic we have of, there was a graphic with regard to the pandemic. Michael, do you have that?
I don't think I have that one. No, I'm
Okay, let me
sorry.
see
That's
if
just a
I can.
number, right? That's the one that has the numbers
Yeah, let
on
me
it.
see
Yeah.
if I can find it because the amount of what I see is unbelievable that we have. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
I believe it's like every 7 minutes.
Yeah, you know what? I can't put up because it's not in a PDF. It's like every 7 minutes there's something. There have been 200, even
Mhm.
before the pandemic, when they were keeping very good statistics, 243 million people, women and girls, and this is only aged between 15 and 49, all right, experience some type of sexual or physical violence because it can come in any forms by an intimate partner in 1 year, in the past year.
Mhm.
And then exacerbating factors if you have to be isolated with the abuser who isolates you or moves you or restricts you or prevents you from having the second car, prevents you from having a car, prevents you from seeing your family, prevents you from calling your family. These are all signs. And just that is such an amazing figure that somebody is going to experience, have these weights around them that they can't feel free. And one of the most dangerous times for a woman to get killed is if she tells her abuser she is leaving. That's an
Hmm.
incredibly dangerous time. So you just have to go without telling them. And I think that is so hard if you have kids. And I saw another statistic, interestingly enough, Sue, that women who have pets and dogs, like I know you were very close to your puppy recently, your dog. We
Hmm.
have a dog, Michael has a dog. They don't want to leave their pets behind. They won't go
Right,
and because some of the
right,
shelters won't take pets. Now that's changing. We
right.
understand that. And something as silly as that, shelters take the pets.
Mhm.
I don't care what it is,
Yes.
except maybe a snake. I mean, I'm being honest there. You know, take the
At,
pets.
actually, I had someone that I talked to not long ago. Her husband was on heroin and he would just beat her and beat her and beat her. And he would take her checks. And she says, Sue, I can't leave. And I can't leave because I have my pets. I can't. And I said, you can. You can. They will take, you know, they're for you. They're there for your support and your knowledge. They're on your side. They will take your pets, and if they can't, they will find someone. You will be in contact with that pet.
Yeah. And I only bring that up because it sounds, it sounds like, well, why can't you leave? People don't understand why women can't leave. Even something as simple as that, because of love. They can't leave because of love for somebody who's loving them, and the pet is loving them when the intimate partner may be abusing them, whether it's a woman, a man, a child, whatever. Just Michael Bryant, I know you have a lot to say about the cases we've been covering, and the brilliance of
Mm.
Sue, and the courage of Sue, and the fact that she's learned about all this and speaks about this to people.
Yeah, I mean that's so important, Sue. That your voice is in this in this wilderness. You know the number you mentioned, Linda, with 243 million.
43 million, right?
I'll bet you it's understated.
Mm.
I'm just sure that there are those incidents that are not being reported. There are people that are suffering that are not reaching out. What would you tell somebody,
Oh, so
Sue, that is just kind of they can't get over that hump. They can't, get past what they're dealing with, but feel like they can't leave, and they've got to reach out, but they just won't.
that's normal for domestic violence victim. It possibly can take up to 7 times to leave. There's always a reason, fear, or not leaving or losing their home or just, let's take it. And but it takes actually about 7 times for them to leave. And how they get to that point is where they know that somebody's there to support them. They feel free that they can go. And that's what's so important, that there is help out there. And it's just a hard situation for them because, it's a lot of fear. And the worst thing you can do is you tell the abuser that you're going to be leaving, or you've just had enough. You don't say anything. You just have to take that step to go ahead, because there is so much help there. I mean, every day they're building things for all of these victims, and I want to be very clear about that. It's not about just about hitting. It's about, the way they talk to you, the way they just belittle you. It's just so many different ways, but no one deserves to be treated like that, and that's abusive. And when it comes to be someone being hit, possibly hurt very bad, or murdered like my sister, I mean, you have to trust someone. You have to take a friend or trust someone to get out.
And Sue, before we sign off, because again, we love you. I've known you for a
Thank
long
you.
time. Um, Tell our viewers something about your sister who may not have been around when this was in the news. Talk about her and what you want everyone to remember about her.
My sister was a lovely girl. She cared about her family, her kids. She came really with nothing and brought herself up and worked 2 jobs and everything. She became a very fine lady and a very smart lady. Um, this was all new to us because we never knew what domestic violence was, and she didn't either. She just know that she was being tortured. But as she read up about everything and reached out for help and she educated herself, she was able to know that this was a domestic violence case and there was actually no one there to help her. But I could say for her, she was very intelligent and she wrote everything down, which is documentation. Documentation is so important. It tells pretty much a story about what you went through. And it helped. She had 125 pages, and it was every little thing. Today he did this. Today he did that. Today he hit me, or today he did this. It's so important with documentation. That is your story, and that was Kathleen's story. And that was brought up, the pages, everything we read, and she told her story.
And hopefully, you telling your story and her story and your family's story will help somebody else leave
Yes.
or recognize the signs that you so brilliantly put forth at the beginning of the show.
And I
Sue,
do think, tell me, Sue, if you agree with this, and we saw it with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, which was so notorious. There can be domestic violence against men. It happens.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
are you seeing in your work and your experience, are you seeing it recognized more often, people coming forward more often?
As far as men,
Yeah,
a little bit, not really.
yeah,
I'm seeing it more for women
yeah. I
coming
would think.
forward. The men seem to be very, hesitant about it and thinking the negative that they're not going to be hurt because it's all a woman thing, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
yeah.
And I hope that they will know that it's just as important as a woman.
yeah,
No doubt.
Mhm,
No doubt.
mhm.
Well, it's an amazing story. It's a tragedy, and if you can take that horrible tragedy and shine light to help others avoid the same, then God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very
thank you,
much.
Sue. Thank you for joining
Thank you.
us. Let's get those
Okay.
weights off the women. Let's get those purple.
Yes.
Let's let
Yes.
them
And
wear
I also
the
want to
white.
stress that really I work with people all the time, but I want it to be very, very everyone to know that this is not only that we say about domestic violence in October, it's every day. Every day. A lot of people say, oh, it's domestic violence and this and that. No, it's every day. It's a silent thing. And it needs to be brought up more and more so we can get this under control. There's so much every day going on, every 7 minutes. We need to focus on having this every day.
We see it in cases. There's a silent killer out there, and in the cases we have seen, a number of women who have not been found that are, we know their husbands have been indicted for murder, or their
Yes,
boyfriends or their lovers. And it could be your next door
yes,
neighbor. It could be somebody, just like with child
yes,
abuse, you wouldn't expect.
yes,
That's why you have to know the signals, and that's why you teach it, and that's why we love you.
yes. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Sue.
Sue.
Okay. Love you.
Whoops, I cut her off, touched
Uh,
boy, that is, and one thing that scares me as much as anything is we talk about it, we hear about the extreme cases, right?
right.
The Drew Peterson monster cases. But there are lesser versions of domestic violence happening all the time that probably aren't reflected in the numbers because they just don't get reported,
Agree.
and they get out of, maybe the abused person gets out of the situation with less than a tragic ending, and it never gets talked about or fixed. And I think that is a bigger problem.
Or they stay in, and it just doesn't come out because they feel they have no way out.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to get at with, guys I know are a different thing. It's a whole, macho guy thing. Do you think that the Johnny Depp Amber Heard scenario there would have ever come to light absent that trial? You think Johnny
No,
Depp ever would have said anything? Of course not.
no.
But through the course of that trial, it became very clear what was going on.
And remember,
So,
you have kids in a lot of these situations too, and who's ever being abused is worried about the kids. What do they do about the kids? And the kids sometimes can get brainwashed. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. There's so much going on, but that's why to have someone to lean on, some help, and you won't have this. I mean, I look at this. This seems like it was just yesterday, and I didn't want to get into all the specifics. There was no need to. We were trying to do the broad brush of saying you have to look out for this because this is an everyday thing. Millions and millions of people are abused in the way It's just horrible, Michael. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just
Well,
horrible.
this is the month that at least we can raise the awareness. That's what it's about.
Mhm.
Sue was so helpful in letting us do that.
Right.
So,
And so I would thank her for that because it had to be hard and be difficult.
yep, no doubt. All right, then. Well, keep that in mind, not just this month, but every month, right?
Every day of every month.
Okay. This is Justice Serve TV. Please try to do the right thing.
Strive,